Welcome back. Violent crimes in Gauteng are up by 2%. Gauteng Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Elias Mawela announced the crime statistics at the provincial legislature on Wednesday. Gauteng has contributed 27.2% to the national crime stats for the 2022-2023 period. Contact crimes such as murder, attempted murder, robbery and sexual offences are reported to be the key drivers of these statistics. Between January and March this year, 153 more people were murdered in the province.
Worrying crime figures coming from Gauteng province. General Mawela says the province's contribution to the national crime statistics will always remain high as it is heavily populated.
Gauteng has contributed 27.2% to the national overall crime statistics for the fourth quarter of 2022-2023. It is worth noting that we have observed over the 5-year period that this contribution is slightly reducing, as in 2019 our contribution was 28.2%, which reflects a decrease by 1.0% or 10,750 counts over the past 5 years.
The overall crime increased by over 2,100 counts. Murder, robbery, attempted sexual assaults and cash-in-transit robberies to blame.
The arrests for the quarter under review for the category of counter crimes are 15,920, of which 526 suspects were arrested for murder. Attempted murder, we've arrested 337. For sexual offences, 1,038, of which 694 were for rape. For assault GPH, we have arrested 6,420. For common assault, we have arrested 5,570. Robbery aggravating circumstances, we have arrested 866. Common robbery, we have arrested 1,163.
Tembisa, Ivory Park, Orange Farm, Jeppe, Hillbrow, Johannesburg Central, Brooklyn and Pretoria Central remain the murder, robbery and assault hotspots of the province. The main causes of the crimes were mob justice, arguments, misunderstandings, road rage, provocation and robbery. Reducing the proliferation of illegal firearms and dangerous weapons is a key priority.
Majority of the victims were killed by a firearm, and the second weapon that is mostly preferred by the perpetrators when they kill their victim is the knife, with 144. Sharp instrument also played a role there with 59. We also have our top 40 of our murder. These are the stations that are topping in terms of the number of murders that were reported during the period under review, irrespective of whether they had the reduction or not. Orange Farm there with 48. JP as Rutherford, Ivory Park, Hillbrow, Tembisa, Johannesburg Central, Jamestown and Oliven.
6 police officers were killed during the 2022-2023 financial year. It's raised concerns by residents of the police's capacity and ability to protect.
This imbizo which I'm talking about is to try to bring the community closer to us and also to continuously account on our action to the community.
The provincial commissioner has also added that intensified efforts would be made to deal with the crime flare-ups in Diepkloof, Ennerdale, Westbury and the Maponya-Uber tensions. Nozintombi Mia, SABC News.
And to give us a bit of more insight into this issue, we are now joined by Lesiba Thobakgale from the South African Police Union, and he is the national spokesperson, and he joins us via our Zoom link. Lesiba, thank you so much for joining us here on the late edition. Let's start off here. What are your thoughts as the South African Police Union on the latest crime figures we've seen in Gauteng?
Thank you, Mbali, for having us. Greetings to your viewers back at home. 27.2% that is seen contributing to the overall crime statistics of the country. That is being contributed clearly by Gauteng. It remains to be concerning. Remember, Gauteng, it contributes to the largest population because there is quite an influx of people who are coming to Gauteng day by day, and some they happen to settle here. So that on its own, it means that the efforts to fight crime from the police, it really has to be more. When we look at the rate of murder, murder is still a problem, because if illegal firearms are still being utilized in this manner in the province of Gauteng to terrorize and to kill so many people, including our police officers, those who are on duty and off duty, this clearly indicates that there is still more efforts that the police in Gauteng has to take in order to ensure that they are able to squeeze out crime. Mbali, we need to be honest that when it comes to crime, we should not be talking about the reduction of crime. One should not be celebrating any form of reduction of crime, because crime is a painful experience to the victims, to those who are affected by high levels of crime. It is not a great experience. It is an experience that nobody would wish for themselves to become victims of crime. So our view as SAB is clear that crime has to be eradicated, be it in Gauteng and across all the 9 provinces in this country. We need to eradicate crime. And when we are looking at the statistics that were given by the provincial commissioner when it comes to illegal firearms, this clearly goes to the call that we've been making as a South African Policing Union, that we need specialization. That's why we need the reestablishment of that firearms unit, because it does not help where you have operations that are focused on specific areas during specific times, instead of having permanent solutions that will clearly ensure that those criminal activities and even the use and even the possession actually of those illegal firearms are being dealt with and are being eradicated. So that is why we are saying that the firearms unit is one of those units that are clearly needed, because they are able to trace illegal firearms, working hand in glove with crime intelligence, and to make sure that those illegal firearms are nowhere to be found, or no one can still be in possession of them within our communities. Murder has been reported by the provincial commissioner as a form of an increase. So that's why we still need that murder and robbery, so that those who specialize in it, they can go and follow up and make sure that, because in most cases, what happens, the very same criminals, they will move from one area to another, and then they will even commit even more hideous crimes in other areas. But without making sure that you have specific members that are dealing with them, with those types of crimes, to eradicate them, we will continue to see the numbers increasing.
And it brings me to my next point. You know, we have seen the overall contributions Gauteng has made, 27.2% in the country. We've also seen violent crimes going up by 2%. What would you say here are the main problems that we continue to see this increase in Gauteng?
Clearly, Mbali, when we look at the issue of the capacity of the police, and we need to appreciate the initiative that has been taken by the Premier of Gauteng here in terms of making sure that he employs the wardens. The wardens' contribution, we believe, they will also contribute positively, which is the move that we have clearly appreciated as a union. But overall, we need to deal with the challenges of the capacity within the South African police services when we look at the law enforcement, when it comes to the physical resources, when it comes to the human capital itself. Because the South African police services, generally, it does not have enough police officers. And now when we look, zooming deep into Gauteng, at least with the wardens that are there, but there is still more that needs to be done when we look at the population that is ever growing within this province. So then the types of interventions that the provincial commissioner needs to embark on, they need to be intensified, specifically when we look at the specialization, because specialization, it is a permanent solution, because you can have weekend operations. When you are focused in specific areas, criminals then, they will, you know, there's what we call crime displacement. They will move to other areas where those operations are not focused at. That is why our solutions is that when you re-establish those specialized units, which will always be working 24/7 at all times in order to ensure that they follow up on everything. Some of these crimes, they will even be able to intercept them before they could even be committed. We've seen, the provincial commissioner reported that cash in transit has increased in Gauteng. So when we look at such crimes, without having those specialized units focusing on eradication of criminal activities, then we will just continue to see the spike going, and we'll just keep on saying operations, we'll do this and that operation, which just come and serve as a temporary measure, but not as a permanent solution.
And Lesiba, you speak about capacity, you speak about, the population of Gauteng, and this is something that the Commissioner also touched on. When it comes to the issue of firearms, clearly it's a problem in the province. I mean, we've seen 862 people who have been arrested and at least 153 people are being killed. Is the police fighting a losing battle here when it comes to illegal firearms?
Illegal firearms are a problem. When we look at the numbers that have been reported, that those firearms were confiscated, there were people that were arrested, suspects were arrested related to those cases. Imagine how many more firearms are still out there in the streets within the province of Gauteng. Imagine how many perpetrators are still using, they happen to be habitual perpetrators, have committed crimes using those illegal firearms and are still continuing to commit even other crimes as we speak now in this interview and even in the coming time, because they have not yet been arrested. So there should be a shift, clearly, that gives focus into eradication and identifying those illegal firearms everywhere. That is where Community Policing Forum comes handy, because the police alone, they would not be able to fight this battle to win it, because without the involvement of the community through Community Policing Forum, remember, in our communities, we know, our communities, they know who are those culprits, they know who has firearms, they know where are they keeping them, they know who does what, when, and how. So really, we need to make sure that the relationship between the police and the communities, they continue to be enhanced. We need every community in the province and even in the rest of South Africa, we need to have active Community Policing Forum, whom can be the eyes and the ears of the police, and with specialization, like the re-establishment of firearms unit, then we'll be able to eradicate them. But illegal firearms are responsible for more aggravating crimes, for the murders that we are seeing, for the cash in transit that we are seeing, for the robberies that we are seeing in the province of Gauteng.
And of course, bringing me to, the interventions which have been made. We heard during the State of the Province address from Panyaza Lesufi earlier this year, tabling, what they will be doing as the Gauteng government. Do you think it's enough, or, more needs to be done on top of the interventions trying to be made by the provincial government?
Like we said, we must commend what the Premier of Gauteng has done. It is a step in the right direction. Us as an organization, any form of intervention that is being taken by SABC management or by government in order to make sure that they are fighting crime, they are fighting against crime, we will always welcome. We welcome such initiatives. I remember in one of the interviews, we even said, imagine if the same was applicable to all the 8 premiers within the country. So that step that was taken by the Premier, it is a step in the right direction. When we look at how vast Gauteng is, when we look at the population of Gauteng, when we look at the dynamics of the province itself, there is still more that the Premier can still do through the intervention that has been done. We need to give credit with the intervention that has been started. We believe that they can even do more, they can even pump more resources in order to assist and capacitate the police who are not even more capacitated when it comes to the physical resources, be it even with the human capital.
All right, then, Lesiba Thobakgale, thank you so much for your time. That is indeed Lesiba Thobakgale. He is the national spokesperson of the South African Policing Union.